Welcome to this next lesson on the Manage extension, where we'll take a look at a real-life example and how you might put some of the features into practice. As you can see in this example, I've got a number of linked components that I need to assign part numbers to and create a change order for. Instead of releasing these one by one, I can group select all those I want to release, then either right click and select Release with Change Order, or click on the Release Change Order button under the Manage tab to start the process. The dialog box that appears allows us to select or deselect components for release, based on our previous selection. And if all okay, we can just go ahead and click on the Create Change Order button. After a short time, we'll see a form that asks us to fill in details on this change order before we can proceed. We need to enter in 3 key pieces of information, as denoted by the red star, before we can create this change order. I'll put in a title and the approver, which I'll set to myself for now. I'll mention here that any users that are part of your team will populate in this drop-down list, and you can also select multiple approvers if you wish. Then I'll put in a reason for the change. We also have the optional inputs for a description and a priority level if needed. Next, we can add multiple reviewers if needed. And again, the drop-down list includes the members of your team. Once we have filled in this information, we can go ahead and click Save, which will commit information to this change order, and then take us to the next step. The first tab that appears is the Affected Items tab, which is linked to the components we selected in our browser tree. If I go back quickly to the Details tab, we can see the information that we previously entered. Back in the Affected Items tab, we can see the part numbers that have been assigned, as well as the component description. We also have a drop-down that lets us state which part of the lifecycle we want to put these in. We can either select Release to Production or go to Pre-Production, giving us an alphabetic or numerical value respectively. If you have a large list, then you have the option of creating a bulk lifecycle change to change the states for multiple components at once. I'll mention here that you must save any changes before moving on to another tab. Then, if we go into the bulk lifecycle change, you can see we can change multiple components at once with just a few clicks. Let's update these all to a Release to Production state. Click on Update and then Save. Now all components have been released to production, and we can see the to value has changed to an alphabetic value. Any approvers or reviewers will see an email, as such, notifying them that a change order has been released and needs their attention. They can either use the link provided in the email to access this information, or find it through the Home tab in the Manage extension directly in Fusion. There are 2 ways the approver can progress this. They can either use the drop down at the top, or use the graphical interface that sits under the Approval Workflow tab. Here we have 4 options, including Cancel Change, Create a Fast Track Approval, Create a Fast Track to Review, or Submit to Work. I'll move these to our review state, add a comment if needed, then click Submit. We can now see the state has changed and the approver can either approve and close or return to open to the approval step of our workflow. The approver or reviewer can check any comment history by clicking on the clock icon at the bottom. Reviewers are also able to click on the review button to add comments of their own. In this case, I'll select the Approve and Close workflow, which moves this into the approved state. Again, if I click on the clock icon, we can see any comment history regarding this change order. You may now notice that this is in a locked state, which essentially means this approval has been pinned to the versions that were submitted. If a user were to continue with this design, then any further changes would not be related to this approved change order. Now the change order for these components has been approved, let's go back to the Process tab and see what information we have there. I'll find our change order and click to open. We can see all the information and tabs that were visible before. We also have this change log, which provides the user with much more detailed information on the release order in the event you need to revisit the steps taken. Taking a quick look at our Approval Workflow tab, we can again see that this is locked and in the approved state. And the Affected Items tab also gives us that same information on the parts, their lifecycle state and revision. Now that our components have been released and approved, I just want to head back to the design workspace and show you the icons that represent a component state. There are 4 main icons you should be aware of when working with change orders. The first is a component or linked component which has no part number or change order assigned to it. We have a black flag that indicates a milestone save for any component, but again does not have a part number or change order assigned to it. We have a white flag with grey background that indicates that a component has had a change order processed previously, but a user is now working on a newer version. And finally, after your change order is approved, you will see this white flag with a black background icon. This tells the user that the latest design is in place and no further changes have been made since the approval. To end this lesson off, if we right click and select history on one of these components, we can again see its version, milestone and revision history, giving us a clear understanding on the part we are working with. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.